In a shocking turn of events, Kai Trump, the granddaughter of President Donald Trump, was kicked out of a prestigious university by the director. The reason? An incident that caused quite a stir, leaving everyone puzzled. However, when President Donald Trump arrived at the university, the entire atmosphere shifted instantly. What followed was a surprising twist that left the director regretting their decision. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more unexpected stories like this. Have you ever faced a situation where your family came to your rescue? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The sun was setting on a warm autumn day in Washington, D.C., as students hustled around the prestigious university campus. It was a typical day for the students of the Ivy League institution, known for its rigorous academic standards and high-profile alumni. But little did anyone know, this particular day would take a dramatic turn. One that would involve none other than Kai Trump, the granddaughter of the current President of the United States, Donald Trump. The young woman, known for her outspoken personality and family connections, had always been a figure of interest on campus, but today, she found herself at the center of a controversy. Kai was walking through the main hallway of the university when the campus director, a strict individual known for enforcing the rules with an iron fist, approached her. He had received reports of an altercation involving Kai and a fellow student, something that seemed minor at first but had somehow spiraled out of control. The specifics of the situation were unclear, but rumors spread quickly, and before long, the director decided to take action. He approached Kai with an ultimatum: leave the campus or face serious consequences. The tension in the air was palpable as students gathered, whispering to one another, watching the exchange between the director and the granddaughter of the sitting president. It wasn't the first time Kai had stirred the pot. Her family's name often brought extra scrutiny, and the expectations were always higher. However, this situation felt different. Some saw it as a personal attack, others as a power play, but one thing was clear. Kai was caught in the middle of a web of politics, privilege, and public perception. As the director made his decision, Kai stood still, processing what was happening. What would she do next? And how would her famous grandfather, President Donald Trump, respond to this unthinkable turn of events? The tension was thick as Kai Trump stood in front of the university director, the weight of the situation settling in. She had always known that being the granddaughter of the current president would bring added attention, but this was beyond what she could have imagined. As the director's words echoed in her ears, she felt a rush of emotions: anger, confusion, and frustration. The entire situation seemed blown out of proportion, and she knew that a minor disagreement had somehow escalated into something much bigger. The whispers of the students around her grew louder, some offering sympathetic glances, while others seemed to be enjoying the spectacle. Kai had never been one to back down from a challenge. Raised in the public eye, she had learned to navigate the complexities of media scrutiny and family legacy. But this was different. This wasn't about a press conference or a political rally. This was personal. She had done nothing wrong, yet she was being treated like a troublemaker. The incident had involved a fellow student who had made derogatory remarks about her grandfather, President Donald Trump, and instead of letting the comments slide, Kai had confronted him. Words had been exchanged, tempers flared, and in an instant, the incident had spiraled into something that was now in the hands of the university's administration. What made matters worse was the fact that the campus director had made his decision without hearing both sides of the story. The university, despite its prestigious reputation, was known for having a liberal leaning, and many students didn't hide their disdain for the Trump family. Some viewed Kai as a symbol of everything they stood against, and the altercation only served to amplify the divide between her and the student body. The director, perhaps influenced by his own biases, had chosen to take the side of the students who were calling for action. He saw an opportunity to make an example of Kai, a chance to show that no one, not even the granddaughter of the president, was above the rules. But Kai wasn't about to let the situation slide. She knew that if she allowed this decision to stand, it would only fuel the narrative that the Trump family was untouchable and above reproach. She had learned from her grandfather that fighting back was often the only way to get things done, even if it meant facing public criticism. Kai felt a surge of determination rise within her. She wasn't just going to stand by and let her name be tarnished by an unfounded accusation. She was going to fight back, but she needed to call on the one person who could turn this entire situation around: her grandfather, President Donald Trump. As soon as Kai got back to her apartment, she immediately placed a call to her grandfather. She knew the power of his presence, and she knew that his involvement in the matter would change everything. It wasn't just about getting her reinstated at the university. It was about sending a message that no one should be allowed to use their position to silence or marginalize others based on their family name. Her grandfather had faced countless battles in the political arena, and while Kai wasn't looking to make this a political issue, she knew that his experience and influence were exactly what she needed in this moment. Meanwhile, word of the incident quickly spread across social media. News outlets picked up the story, and soon people from all over the country began weighing in. Some supported Kai, arguing that she was being unfairly treated, while others saw it as a justified consequence of her family's controversial reputation. The university itself became embroiled in the controversy, with alumni and current students alike taking to social media to express their opinions. Kai knew that the story was about to explode into something much larger than a simple campus dispute. It was about the power dynamics at play, the clash of political ideologies, and the ongoing debate about freedom of expression and cancel culture. As she waited for her grandfather's response, Kai couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. She was grateful for his unwavering support, but she also realized the weight of the situation. This wasn't just about her. It was about the larger societal issues that had been brewing for years. It was about the way public figures and their families were treated by the media, the public, and institutions. The line between personal and political had become so blurred that every action, no matter how small, seemed to be viewed through the lens of politics. Kai had always wanted to pave her own path, separate from her family's legacy, but today, it seemed like her name and her grandfather's name were inextricably linked in the eyes of the public. As the days passed, the story of Kai Trump's confrontation with the university director continued to gain traction in the media. News outlets, both national and local, began covering the incident, with each one providing their own spin on what had happened. For some, it was just another example of the Trump family causing a stir in the public eye. For others, it was a story about freedom of speech, family legacy, and the power dynamics between public figures and institutions. But for Kai, it was much more personal. As she waited anxiously for her grandfather's response, she couldn't shake the feeling that this situation was bigger than just a simple misunderstanding. It was about the ongoing battle between political ideologies, public perception, and personal identity. Kai had always been proud of her heritage, but she had also worked hard to carve out her own identity, separate from her family's political legacy. Growing up as the granddaughter of a powerful figure like President Donald Trump meant that her every move was scrutinized by the public. From the clothes she wore to the friends she kept, nothing escaped the public eye. It was a difficult reality to face, especially when she just wanted to live her life like any other young adult. Yet, no matter how hard she tried to separate herself from the political spotlight, it seemed that the weight of her family's name always followed her. This situation with the university director felt like the culmination of everything Kai had been trying to avoid. It wasn't just about the fact that she had been kicked out. It was about the way she had been treated solely because of her last name. She couldn't help but feel that, if she had been anyone else, this situation wouldn't have escalated the way it had. Her family's name carried so much weight, both in the eyes of her supporters and detractors, and it often seemed that people couldn't separate her as an individual from the politics that surrounded her. As much as she wanted to fight the university's decision, she knew that every action she took would be scrutinized, amplified, and politicized. Her thoughts were interrupted by a phone call. It was her grandfather, President Donald Trump. His voice on the other end was calm and composed as always. Kai, I've been following what's happening, he said. I'm proud of how you're handling yourself, but we need to take action. I'm going to make a call to the university. This has gone far enough. Kai could feel the familiar sense of reassurance that always came with her grandfather's support. He had faced battles like this his entire career: public scrutiny, media backlash, and endless criticism. But no matter how intense the fight, he always fought back with unwavering confidence. And now it seemed it was her turn to do the same. The call was made, and soon after, the university director received an unexpected message from the President of the United States. Within hours, news outlets were reporting that the university had decided to reevaluate their decision. The story was taking on a new dimension, and as it was unfolding, Kai began to realize that this wasn't just about her. It was about the power of influence, the complexities of family legacy, and the way institutions often navigate difficult decisions when public figures are involved. The university, which had initially been quick to act, now found itself in the spotlight for its handling of the situation. Some defended the university's decision, arguing that they were simply enforcing the rules, while others criticized them for allowing political pressure to influence their actions. The following day, the university director issued a public statement apologizing for the decision, citing the influence of media and public opinion as factors that had influenced their initial response. "We regret that the situation escalated as it did," the director's statement read. "We take full responsibility for the way it was handled, and we are committed to ensuring that all students, regardless of their background, are treated with respect and fairness." The apology, however, did little to calm the storm that had erupted. For some, it was seen as a capitulation to the power of the Trump family, while others viewed it as a necessary step in rectifying a situation that had gone too far. Kai, meanwhile, was left to process everything that had happened. The situation had forced her to confront the complexities of her identity, what it meant to be part of such a powerful family, and how she could navigate life when the world constantly tried to define her by her last name. She had never asked to be in the spotlight, but it seemed like it was always following her. The ordeal had opened her eyes to the way public figures, especially those from controversial backgrounds, were often held to different standards. It wasn't just about making a mistake. It was about how the media and the public reacted to those mistakes, and how every action, no matter how small, became a reflection of a larger political battle. As the dust began to settle, Kai realized that the story wasn't over. This incident had highlighted the ongoing divide in the country, the tensions between different political ideologies, and the way that family legacies often shaped public perception. In many ways, she had become a symbol of the challenges that come with being associated with powerful figures, both in a positive and negative light. But through it all, Kai had learned a valuable lesson. No matter how hard the world tried to define her, she would always have the power to define herself. As the media frenzy surrounding the incident at the university continued, the political implications became clear. The entire country seemed to be watching, eager to weigh in on the situation. Some praised President Donald Trump's swift intervention, seeing it as a sign of family loyalty and the power of influence. Others, however, criticized him for using his position to secure special treatment for his granddaughter, adding another layer of division to an already polarized nation. The debate quickly spiraled beyond the confines of the university and into the realm of politics, with each side framing the incident to fit their own narrative. For some, it was a symbol of the Trump family's outsized influence in American society, while for others, it was a reminder of the challenges that young people with powerful family names had to face. In the midst of all this, Kai struggled to reconcile her own feelings about the situation. On one hand, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for her grandfather's involvement. His support had been unwavering, and he had used his platform to secure a fair outcome. But on the other hand, she couldn't shake the feeling that this incident had exposed the uncomfortable reality of her life, one that had always been intertwined with politics, power, and public scrutiny. She had never asked to be in the spotlight, but it seemed that no matter how hard she tried to live her own life, the legacy of her family was always with her, casting a long shadow over everything she did. The situation with the university had only intensified these feelings, leaving Kai to question what it truly meant to have her own identity when she was constantly being defined by the actions and opinions of others. Her experience was also a reminder of the challenges faced by young people in today's highly politicized environment. For students like Kai, who came from families with high public profiles, every decision, every action, and every disagreement seemed to be magnified. Her case wasn't just about a family dispute or a personal mistake. It was about the complex intersection of politics, media, and public life. Kai had always known that her family's name carried weight, but she hadn't realized just how much until now. It was as though her personal struggles, her triumphs, and even her mistakes were no longer hers alone. They were part of the larger political conversation, dissected and debated by people who didn't know her, yet felt entitled to have an opinion on her life. The constant pressure to conform to public expectations was exhausting, and Kai began to wonder how much longer she could live under the intense scrutiny of the media. In an effort to find clarity, Kai decided to speak out. She gave an exclusive interview to a well-known media outlet, hoping to express her side of the story and offer her perspective on the incident. In the interview, Kai opened up about her frustrations with the way her family name had shaped her life. She explained that while she had always admired her grandfather's work, she also felt that she was often judged not for who she was, but for who her family was. "I've always tried to carve out my own path, to make my own name, but it's impossible when the world sees you only through the lens of politics," she said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I love my family, but it's not always easy to live in their shadow. Every move I make is scrutinized, and sometimes it feels like I don't get to be me." Kai's interview quickly went viral, sparking a wave of public discussion. Some praised her for her honesty, acknowledging the pressure that comes with being a member of a powerful family. Others, however, criticized her for using her platform to complain about her privileged position, arguing that she was out of touch with the struggles faced by ordinary people. The conversation around the interview revealed just how divided the country had become, with people viewing the issue through the lens of their own political beliefs. For some, Kai's story was a symbol of the challenges young people from influential families faced, while for others, it was an example of privilege and entitlement. Despite the backlash, Kai felt a sense of relief after speaking out. It was the first time she had publicly addressed the complexities of her life and the pressure of living under the constant watch of the media. She knew that the controversy wouldn't go away overnight, but for the first time, she felt like she had taken control of her own narrative. It was a small step in the larger process of figuring out who she was outside of her family's shadow. Kai understood that she would always be associated with her grandfather and his political legacy, but she also knew that she had the power to define herself on her own terms. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to face it with a newfound sense of confidence. In the weeks that followed, the media storm surrounding Kai Trump's incident with the university director began to subside, but its impact was far from over. The story had not only ignited a national conversation about privilege, family legacies, and public scrutiny, but it also forced Kai to take a hard look at who she was becoming. She had spent much of her life under the shadow of her family, trying to distance herself from the political world and create an identity of her own. Yet as the events unfolded, it became clear that no matter how hard she tried, her family's name would always be tied to her in some way. Despite the media's continued coverage of the story, Kai found solace in the fact that she had spoken her truth. The interview had given her an opportunity to share her personal struggles and frustrations, and for the first time, she felt like her voice had been heard. Her comments resonated with many people, both inside and outside the political sphere, who could empathize with the challenges of living in the public eye. The response to her interview was a mixture of support and criticism, but ultimately, Kai understood that she could not control how others perceived her. What mattered most was that she was now more comfortable with herself and the complexity of her identity. With time, Kai began to shift her focus away from the media frenzy and toward her own personal growth. She enrolled in a few online courses, eager to expand her horizons and build a career separate from her family's influence. While she knew the road ahead would still be difficult, she was determined to prove to herself and to others that she was capable of achieving her own success. She understood that her family legacy was a part of her story, but it would not define her future. Kai's journey was a reminder that identity is complex and that being part of a prominent family doesn't always come with the freedom to be yourself. In many ways, Kai's struggle represented a larger societal issue, one where the pressures of public life and the expectations placed on individuals because of their family background can be overwhelming. But in finding her voice and taking control of her narrative, Kai showed that it's possible to break free from those expectations and carve out a path of one's own.